If you want to know what the real definition of fascism is, let's cover this story. There were people outside the Supreme Court last night, Monday night, after the opinion leaked, and they were yelling something to the effect of "Stop these fascists," calling, I guess, the Supreme Court fascists. This is fascism, guys. CDC tracked millions of phones to see if Americans followed pandemic lockdown orders. That is the government. We funded that through taxpayer money. That's the government working with private companies in a merger. That's probably the layman's way of describing what real fascism is. An unbelievable story from Vice here. They got new released documents that show the CDC planned to use phone location data to monitor schools and churches and wanted to use that data for many non-pandemic purposes too. Don't worry. It's for your safety. Are you feeling safe yet? This is the kind of thing that corporations and government agencies can do, and then they do with our data without our permission or knowledge. There are about 20 million Americans in here in this story. Let me search on that to find it. So they said there was about 20 million. So SafeGraph, this is actually Peter Thiel's backing company with his backing, is a part of this industry where they gather data. Where are you at? They derive this from at least 20 million active cell phone users per day across the United States. That's what this SafeGraph does. None of them at any point said, sure, sell my location to anyone for any purposes that you want. It's almost as if we need a digital bill of rights. Would you consider this an invasion of privacy? I know there's stuff in fine print when you sign up for these apps and the phones and all that. At some point, that's not covering it. At some point, we need better protection. We need protection from the people that we put in office. What the hell are they doing? They're in Ukraine. They're off on, I just posted Elizabeth Warren acting emotional about the abortion situation. I need y'all to focus on this. Abortion is left up to the state now. I need you to focus on this. The CDC did not respond to multiple emails requesting comment on which use cases it did deploy SafeGraph data for. Why is that? Simple question. This should be coming from House committees at this point. It's the executive branch. It's really Rochelle Walensky, Joe Biden, and the House, especially the House, but the House and the Senate should be calling them to task. Okay, you did this. My constituents are upset, so I'm going to have to call you in, and you're going to have to answer some questions. As we know, they usually don't answer too many questions. When looking at this SafeGraph company, they were actually removed from the store. Google banned SafeGraph from its Google Play Store in June. This meant any app developers using this code had to remove it from their apps, or their app would be removed from the store. It's not entirely clear how effective this ban has been because SafeGraph has previously said it obtains location data via Veriset, a spin-off company. So it has so SafeGraph is a company, spun it off to this Veriset. Google bans SafeGraph from the store, but the spin-off company interfaces with the app developers. So are we playing games here, or is something really happening? There's no way to stop this other than regulation. There's no way at all. You could decentralize the federal government and then at the local level have people protected, but is that realistic? I guess none of it's realistic. At the end of this article from Vice, I mean, it's a great read. Go Google it. I didn't want to read too much of it. It's the headline for the article is CDC tracked millions of phones to see if Americans followed lockdown orders. It's really well done. And they lay it out here that they were specifically monitoring the effectiveness of policy, how many people are, visiting K through 12 schools. What were they doing? Were they obeying the lockdown orders? So we went from these lockdowns are unconstitutional to unconstitutional lockdowns that in part played a role in this inflation supply chain issue as well. Got the lockdown orders, and then spawning off of that, we're getting data from what happens when we lock you down. Where do you go? What do you do? Do you listen? It's almost like they're setting it up for something else. When you look at the data at the end of this article here, I'll probably bring it up on multiple streams, at least referencing it. They got a lot of different headlines that are interesting. Data broker is selling location data of people who visit abortion clinics. Google tells specific apps to disclose location gathering or be removed. Class action lawsuit targets company that harvests location data from 50 million cars. FBI's backdoored Anam phones secretly harvest GPS data around the world. Someone scraped massive bank of personal data used by private investigators. Crook sells access to data tool used by private investigators. It almost is like we need to start protecting our data. Let me know what you think. Take care.